I've done some analysis and I've identified 5 ways the sales team at Hyros can improve their closing rate. Number 1, prioritize niches with the highest net profit. More profit means that either businesses are willing to pay more or there's more customers up for grabs. Number 2, prioritize niches with the highest ad spend on average. The more that's being spent, the more that can be saved. Number 3, tailor the pitch based on the prospect's business model and the social media platform they are most likely to rely on. Number 4, use lower cost of acquisition, lower ad spend, and higher return on ad spend as selling points. Number 5, build a long-term relationship with smaller prospects by helping them get to a point where they would benefit from an optimized advertising strategy.
Hello, this is Spencer Hawley, creator of Sales Scientist, which is a lead scoring tool aimed at helping the sales team at Hyros in particular operate more efficiently and increase their closing rates to help Hyros get more customers. And this is a dashboard that I made with data that I was able to collect. Now, just to explain a couple things here, Hyros is an ad tracking platform that helps advertisers identify what's working and what isn't working much better, and really just optimize their advertising strategy. And the data that I've collected a sample of businesses that are actual customers of Hyros, and then collected a sample of customers, or not customers, but businesses that are very similar to the customers, but not actual. They're very similar types of businesses, but they're not actual customers of Hyros, to compare the difference. And the first chart that I made here shows net profit by niche. Now, just to explain here, a niche in this case is a certain type of business model combined with a certain domain. So we have info entrepreneurship, for example. So this is like info businesses that sell online courses and other digital products like that, as well as online coaching, and in the entrepreneurship space. So these are, for example, an example of an info entrepreneurship business would be like a course that shows you like how to run an Amazon FBA store or something like that. Just an example. And the bigger the box means there's more profit. So basically, like all the businesses in the data set, we've collected like the total profits within that niche within the data set. And the bigger the box means that the more profit there is. So the idea is that sales reps can when they're doing outreach they can prioritize businesses in these bigger box niches, because when there's more profit, more is willing to be spent on solutions, and this can come in the form of either getting more customers or having customers that are willing to pay more. Now, I will point out something here, and that is the marketing consulting niche is a bit different from the rest of them, because all of these other niches they're buying Hyros to use internally for their own marketing, for their own advertising. So they're using it for themselves. However, these marketing consulting firms are actually buying Hyros usually to use on their clients, and they're buying it for their clients to help their clients advertising and marketing. And because of that, there's actually Hyros has created an affiliate program where marketing consulting firms that use Hyros, instead of buying it themselves, they get their clients to buy Hyros, and then that actually multiplies the sales that Hyros can get out of this, the sales and customers that Hyros can get out of this niche. So like I said, really smart move on their end. So our next chart shows the dominant platform among the businesses in the data set. So The bigger the bubble size represents the percentage of the businesses in the data set that predominantly use the platform as their main source of inbound marketing and traffic. So as you can see, YouTube and Facebook are really big here. They together make up about 80%, the dominant platforms for 80% of the businesses. And then LinkedIn and Reddit are the only ones that even come close, and they're still dwarfed by comparison. We've got 5% on LinkedIn, 3.5% on Reddit, a lot of like much smaller percentages. But the third chart I made shows the ad spend by each niche, and within each niche we took the average ad spend, and the bigger the bubble, the more that's being spent on average on ads per month specifically. And if you notice, actually, I've color coded them to match the platform. So for each business model, the color of each business model matches the color of the platform that they mostly use, or use like the highest percentage of. So anyway, a couple things about the way this chart can be used. So this chart is a slightly more accurate version of what this chart is able to do, because it can help because basically, like, the more that's being spent on ads, the more that generally can be saved on ads, which saving on ad spend is a big thing that Hyros helps with. So that's kind of like the idea behind this. So they know not only where their profits are, but where's their ad spend, because where there's a lot of ad spend, there's a lot of opportunity to save ad spend. And as for the color matching, the benefit of this is that when the idea here is that when the sales rep is preparing for a sales call with a prospect, they can look, okay, so, you know, let's say we're working with Dr. Josh Axe, trying to acquire him as a customer, right? So Dr. Josh Axe, if you don't know, a really big guy in the info health space, info health niche. So when you're on the phone with their marketing team trying to sell, when the rep is on the phone with the marketing team trying to sell Hyros, they can kind of bring up a point. They can say like, okay, so we've noticed you're as a info health, however they want to phrase it, business. You know, we've noticed that most of info health businesses are predominantly rely on Facebook, and for this reason, you know, we offer or we use server-side tracking, which is resistant to the iOS 14 update that hit Facebook really hard, and it can help your Facebook advertising thrive throughout this throughout the update, and throughout the iOS 14 update and privacy updates, and sell them on a selling point like that, like a selling point kind of related to what Hyros can do within the individual platform, because it works with multiple platforms. And now, like I said, it's potential. Actually, I didn't say this, but it's possible that, you know, when you're on the phone with them, when the rep's on the phone, they may get it wrong. Like maybe Dr. Josh Axe is different. Maybe Dr. Josh Axe uses YouTube, right? But which is possible, and then you're wrong in that case. But it still looks good on the end of on Hyros's end, because it shows that sales rep took the time to think about the client more, and take more time to understand them and kind of do some problem solving on their end. So the next thing I did was compare customers versus non-customers on 4 different metrics. So the first one was average ad spend. So on average, our customers spend quite a bit less on ads, only $272,000 a month versus $668,000 a month for the non-customers. Now, part of this is because the customers are a little bit smaller scale of businesses, and they're usually just a little bit smaller in general, operating at a slightly smaller scale. You'll see what I mean here, because average ad revenue is the average non-customers generating 1.86 million a month from their ads, whereas the average high-roast customers are only getting 1.13 million. But the cause for this is just that these are bigger, they have more employees, they're just been around longer in general. So they are slightly larger companies. And now we've got cost of acquisition, cost of customer acquisition. And on average, both spend quite a bit. However, the average customer of Hyros only spends $261 acquiring a customer, which is 13% less than the non-customer's average cost of acquisition. And a lot of this is also because Hyros is able to help marketers clean up their ad spend. And then last, we compared the return on ad spend, which is kind of like the crown metric in marketing, because that's, okay, like how much are you making? That's calculated by how much revenue are your ads generating divided by how much are you spending on ads. So it's your return on investment, except investment ad spend, so ROAS. And let me look here. So the average customer has quite a bit higher, 2.5 times higher return on ad spend than the average non-customer. So this shows that decreasing ad spend, decreasing cost of customer acquisition, and increasing return on ad spend are really big selling points that Hyros can make, that the sales reps can make on, for Hyros when on the phone with prospects. And interesting thing I looked at here is comparing the lowest performing businesses throughout customers and non-customers in the data set. And by low performing, I mean they have the lowest returns on ad spend. A lot of them actually have negative return on ad spend. And big thing to notice here is that they are only spending $75 to acquire a customer. However, the rest of the leads, which are the ones that are like not the lowest performing, with a decent, at least positive, at least 3x return on ad spend, they have they're spending on average of $350 to acquire a customer. So what this leads to create in a sales strategy when on the phone with prospects is, yes, you talk about how you can save on these things, save on ad spend, save on customer acquisition. But there's kind of like a point where you have to be willing to spend to actually get the amount of business necessary to really see a return on investment with your advertising strategy. So for some prospects that are not performing too well on return on ad spend, for one, you may not really want them as badly, because like I said, if their marketing strategy is not even good to begin with, it's a sign that we maybe can't really help them that well. It's kind of like, buying workout clothes but just sitting on the couch all day. But then again, if they are able to help them, they can sell them on the point of like, okay, be willing to increase your ad spend, increase your cost of customer acquisition, but and we'll help, and that'll, that combined with our service will help your advertising strategy get successful. And then once you're successful, you can kind of you can start using our service to fine tune your spending and really optimize it. But it has to kind of like be good first. And these are ways to kind of like, maybe, for these low performers, maybe you can't really get them as customers now, but you can at least give them kind of like a action plan to get to a position where they actually would benefit from the service, which is a good way to like provide value up front and build a long-term relationship with customers, even if they're not quite yet going to be customers. Okay, so just addressing a little limitation on my data set real quick before I end this video. And that is that currently right now, like I talked about, the data set is representing a sample of actual customers compared to a sample of similar businesses that are similar to the businesses of the customers, but not actual customers. But the ultimate goal here is to collect data on all the businesses that went through Hyros' sales process, had the sales calls, and compare those that closed and became customers versus those that still went through the process but didn't become customers, because that way we can actually find the patterns in relationship between the differences between the people that actually purchased versus those who did not purchase, to really be able to create an effective tool.
That's been the video. Let me know what you think. I'd especially like to get feedback on my actions for the sales team, and I'd also like to know if the language I was using makes sense, and let me know if I was too technical, or if I did well. Let me know too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.